Right, Vets Online is here at Belgravia House, the headquarters of the RCVS, to interview its new Chief Executive Officer, Nick Stace. Hi Nick.
Hi.
How are you?
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Okay, right, we're going to introduce you to the profession, so would you mind telling the RCVS members who you are and what you're about?
Yes, well, I'm Nick Stace, and I've been in post now for 9 or 10 weeks. I think I've stopped counting, which is a good sign.
Yep.
And my background is primarily in consumer issues. So for the last 4 years I've been in Australia, running the equivalent of Which in Australia, and prior to that I was Deputy Chief Executive at Which here in the UK. And I had a little stint for my sins working for Gordon Brown as well.
Right, and what were you doing for Gordon Brown? You were in a communications role?
Yeah, I was his Director of Strategic Communications, and in government terms, strategic is anything that's not happening tomorrow.
That must be a relief, in a way.
It is. I mean, it was right at the heart of the global financial crisis, so there was a fair amount of stuff that was going on.
A lot of firefighting.
A lot of firefighting, and a lot of unknowns. So, you know, we weren't quite sure what was going to happen, and it's very hard to communicate when you don't know what's going to happen next.
And how has that communications role set you up for dealing with consumers, which is what you've spent more of your time recently doing?
Yeah, I mean, it really helped. I mean, partly because, you know, the most important thing for a Prime Minister is really to understand what the public are thinking. Obviously, it's a good idea if he's got a fair view of what he's thinking too, but more than that, it's about knowing what the public are thinking and what the public will put up with, and what also they want to see their Prime Minister, their government do. So similarly for a consumer organisation, clearly the most important people are the consumers, and actually being in touch with consumers is really, really critical. And so right from the start I made my telephone number available to 250,000 choice members, which was a fairly...
Straight line through to you?
The straight line through to me.
Really?
You can't. And that did a couple of things really. I mean, firstly, it demonstrated that I was prepared to hear what people had to say. Secondly, it was a good opportunity for people to bloodlet. You know, I mean, quite honestly, for the first month, the phone didn't stop ringing. But after that time, you know, it was a really good way for me to keep in touch with the issues that mattered. So yeah, it's something my successor has had to now live with. Yeah.
They have a bit of a shock their first week in the job, I imagine.
That's right, yeah.
So, okay, you've joined the RCVS. You've been here for a couple of months. What did you think? The first day you set foot in this building, how was that for you?
Well, it's very different. So I'd arrived from Australia, and you know, all of the informalities of Australia, and I arrived without a tie. Well, it might have been less offensive if I'd have arrived with a tie on but no trousers on. It was that sort of moment where there were whispers, he's not wearing a tie. I thought I'd forgot my trousers, but no, it was only my tie. Then I was introduced to my gown. In fact, I call it a robe. I called it a robe to begin with, and was told that was the wrong term to use, so it's a gown. And then, to top it all, later that evening, one of our brilliant people here turned into a butler, as we have quite a lot of people who come, you know, for evening receptions and dinners and so on. And there he was in his morning suit. So then I emailed a friend of mine in Australia that evening and said, "You wouldn't believe it, you know. I didn't wear a tie and it caused a great uproar. You know, I've got a gown and I've got a butler. What do you think to that?" And he replied saying, "I thought everyone in England had that kind of experience." So it was quite a shock first arriving.
It's a very traditional environment, perhaps.
It is, and look, there's a lot of the tradition, which is really good. And we've been doing, I think, a pretty remarkable job since 1844. Part of the reason why the profession is held in high esteem with the public is that, you know, we follow the right process, we're fair, and we've been working with the profession really, you know, to make the profession work in the public interest. So I think a lot of what I found was really, really positive. And there are undoubtedly things that we can do to improve what we do there.
Okay, and would you like to briefly say what those improvements might be? What can you tell the profession about where the RCVS is going next? Well,
the first thing is I want the profession to tell me. So I have some views. I think we can improve our customer service. So by customers I mean the profession, also the public. I think we can set more challenging targets in terms of, you know, we're a good regulator at the moment. How do we become a really good regulator? And I think we can learn from other regulators and other Royal Colleges along the way. But look, critically, I really want the profession to tell me, and that's why in a couple of weeks' time we're going to be launching a consultation process with the whole profession, reaching out to anyone who wants to have a say in terms of the future direction of the Royal College, and I really want the professions to take part in that. I'm also going to be reaching out to the public as well, and also our council, of course, our esteemed 42-member council, and our staff as well. And staff, you know, are critical to the future success of this organisation. They need to be fully engaged in the future direction, and their input will be extremely valuable as well.
Okay, well, we look forward to seeing what you've got up your sleeves. Thank you very much, Nick.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.